We
Thank you.
are
Oh,
live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Good to see everybody. I don't see a tremendous amount of people in the chat just yet, but I know that people have lined up and coming in. Oh, there's one person. Hello, Draven. Anyhow, so back for Truth Talk. This is my fourth coming in. Oh, there's one person. Hello, Draven. Anyhow.
no, turn that off.
That's what I
That,
was telling you to mute. That's what I was telling you to mute.
I don't know how you mute that damn thing.
Yeah, I get loud up in here. Anyhow, hello, welcome back to Truth Talk. I am your host, Ravenflower, and I've been in the kitchen all damn day making candles, and I'm tired. So I've got the scrunch up in my hair, like no joke. I'm like, you're lucky that I put some hairspray to like keep the flyaways back. That's the thing. Yeah. Truth Talk is all about me introducing you to some of my friends and some people I don't even know at all. And we're going to talk about all different kinds of things, whatever they want to talk about, because I feel that all of us are going through some pretty amazing and crazy times right now. And I think that through our vulnerability, we empower others. And so I've invited certain people on my channel to just share their story. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to my good friend Elaine, and who was once still is my customer, but we started off, you were a customer for Ravenflower Designs, and we just started hitting it off. And then all of a sudden we're like chatting and messaging and live, you know, whatever. We love each other. We found out that we are Puerto Rican sisters from another mister,
That's
and
right.
we like,
And if you fucking around with this goddamn laptop, I'm like, sorry. What's going on?
I love it. I love it. So, Elaine, what's up? How did you
What's
become a witch? How did you find me? How did this go? How did this happen?
so? Once upon a time, not long ago.
Not long ago.
Yeah.
5 years.
So, well, I grew up. My parents are like super Catholic. Well, I would consider like I would call them Bible beaters. Sorry. Yeah, because they're very Catholic. And I was always like teeter-tottering between things. And then about probably 5 years ago, I think, I started actually, I went through a breakup with my daughter's father, the little one's father. And I came upon like Kellyanne Maddox, and she was helping me. Her videos were helping me to even like sleep and to even process things. So then once I clicked on her, then all this other stuff, I was like, ooh, what is this? So that's how I met Trina and Tequila, and it was just amazing. Sorry, look, I have coyotes back there, and there's like a freaking like family. It's a herd. I'm pretty sure those coyotes are Puerto Rican because only we roll like that. Just saying.
It's a group. It's a group out there.
It's like
It's
15
a family
Puerto Ricans up
barbecue.
in a Toyota Celica, squished up like this next to the window. Just saying. So, so I started dabbling, but then I got pregnant with my smallest daughter, and I started going back to church and stuff like that. And then tragedy struck us where my niece passed away. She was 8 years old. And I was pissed. I couldn't understand why God would let something like that happen, especially since my niece was like, she would go to church. She loved going to church. And she had an accident. She wasn't sick. She was playing around with my brother's tie and accidentally hung herself. She was on life support for a week. And they had to shut the machines off. So for a long time, I was just like, I fucking had it. I just, sorry, bleep.
No, I say fuck all the time.
um, I just had it. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I just didn't. And then I started dabbling here. I started dabbling there. But I just was so confused because I wanted to do, I knew that spiritually the Catholic Church just wasn't cutting it for me
Yeah,
because it felt like the people that went to that church were just they're hypocrites in my opinion. You know, they were being hypocritical. And like I have this argument with my mother all the time. She's like, "Well, why do you have all these deities and like all these altars and you know, you shouldn't have that stuff there." Oh, excuse me, don't you have one to the Virgin Mary up in your house? And you
like
put
let me
flowers
count you how
on
many saints. Let me
her.
count you how many saints. There's all these saints. Like, what are you talking
Yes,
about?
all over the place. So the last so it started off with my niece passing away. I was pregnant when that happened. I was about eight months pregnant. I had my daughter. So she passed away in January. I had the baby February.
Wow.
2 weeks after I had my baby, my oldest, who's now 18, um, went through a rough time and she tried to commit suicide. She ended up in the hospital. Mind you, I had a newborn. I was dealing with the death of my niece and I couldn't cry. I couldn't let anything out. I just completely shut down because when I started to cry, I couldn't breastfeed her.
Oh
And
God.
she didn't want anything else. On top of that, I dealt with her being on medication. They put her on the wrong medication. The medication made her kooky. She went AWOL. I had DCF cases because she was telling them how I was trying to kill her. Listen, it's a whole lot of mess.
Damn.
And then my daughter's father happened to go to Puerto Rico
This I
to
remember.
bury
I remember this.
his nephew that was murdered over there. And then he ended up catching flu type A, and this was right after like Hurricane Maria,
Mm.
and his lung collapsed. I had to fly out there and
With the baby.
with a baby.
Yeah.
And it was horrid. I thought when he came back everything was going to be fine. And 14 years with a person, it was very I love him to death. I still love him. But it was a very toxic situation for me. And about 2 years ago, I had just had it. I said, you know what? I'm done. You need to get the fuck out. And I need to focus on me. And it was super painful for me, but I sat down and I cried out. I said, I don't know who's out there, what I'm supposed to do, but I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
I need help. And then I call her my guardian angel. I call her my mom. She's my everything. Oshun came to me, which is La Virgen de la Caridad del Cobre. Now, Oshun comes to me in Catholic saint form.
Hmm.
I was born on September 8th, which on the Catholic calendar is actually the Immaculate Mary Mary's birthday. But that's the feast day for Oshun as well as the feast day for Yemaya. So I'm basically a child of both waters, sweet and salty. So um she what can I say about her? She gives me strength when I need it. Um I've slowly have grounded myself and feel myself really planted in what I believe in, what
Mhm.
I feel. And every step of the way, I make sure that she's the one that's guiding me. So she comes to me in saint form, but Yemaya comes to me in African form, as
Oh boy.
well as Papa Legba comes to me in African form. So Elegwa, he comes to me like, no. They've come to me in dreams. I've had dreams with Saint Lazarus. Yemaya always comes up. I've had, even during meditation, I've had instances where Oshun comes to me in the form of the Virgin of Charity, and it's been
That's surreal.
it's been, I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like when you just find your purpose,
Yeah.
when you're good with what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you feel this joy inside that I hadn't had for a long time. For a long time, I was, I had my altar to her, but my daughter's father didn't respect it. Bless you. Bless you. You see?
I
That's
see
that allergy stuff. This cold weather ain't shit. I done sprayed. I done everything. I'm looking like a freaking coke addict.
I
I'm
know.
like,
We're all sniffing.
yeah. Excuse me. You gotta clean up the yayo.
Yep. The mocos. We gotta get the mocos.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of times when we're lost, we have to like get down and just come and say, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. Even if it's to start over, I feel like I've been starting over the last, I don't know, 15 years. But now I feel like I know what I'm meant to do. I'm what I'm meant to follow. I get my hand slapped when,
Yeah.
yeah. She's like, no, 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 I don't think so. But it's been it's it's been a very long process, but I'm glad that it's happened now,
Hmm.
because I don't think that before I could have been able to embrace it as much,
Like
just because of the upbringing that I had.
you feel that your Catholicism upbringing had didn't like the structure wasn't what you needed, and it was just sort of like a falsehood that was sitting out there. It wasn't giving you what you needed as far as coping mechanisms. It wasn't. You just felt like it was a
It
lie.
just wasn't, I felt like it was hypocritical because I still remember this one time, right? They were signing papers for pro life.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My mom is like, you need to sign that petition. I think
You're
I
like,
was
why?
like 13, 14 years old. And I said, I'm not signing that petition. You have to. Why
What do
do
you
I
mean?
have to? And she's like, well, you don't believe in abortion, do you? I said, I don't believe in it. I don't, for me, but
Right.
I'm no one to say you can't do it.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
not my decision. There's women out there that get raped. So you want them to have a kid, and then what if they don't love that kid? What if they want to drop them off at an orphanage, and then they end up in a foster system? A whole lot of mess. That's not my place to tell somebody else what to do. So
That's the
oh,
thing.
it was
That's the thing.
oh, you're atheist. You're atheist. And I'm like, okay, well,
Okay
all right.
then.
Then gay marriage came up.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. So she didn't like that. I was like, okay. I mean, and I was a catechist, and I took like classes to be a catechist and all this other stuff. I used to teach Sunday
Hey,
school.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
not.
like I came and I told her, I said, okay, you don't believe in gay marriage. She's like, I don't understand, why people blah blah blah. And I said, well, Isn't in the Bible, doesn't it say God made everyone in his own image?
Ooh, good one, girl. Good one, good one.
So if it's in his own image, God didn't make a mistake, right? So
Right.
then, and she would get, no, that's not the way you interpret. Listen, I sat her down and I said, Mom, I love you. But to me, someone who's looking for the divine, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what it looks like.
Oh man.
My God does not have to look like your God. The same thing is when people say, "Oh, I have faith." Oh, no, no, no. I found that in the some people in the pagan community take that as faith is synonymous with Christianity.
Right.
So that's a bad word. Prayer is a bad word. But in my opinion, faith, I have faith in the divine. My divine is not the same as your divine. But
Yeah.
having faith is having that trust. You can have a trust in ISIS. You can have a trust in the Pillsbury Doughboy if you want. That's
I
having
do.
faith.
I
You
do.
know, listen, girl, I got Michelin all over.
Michelin.
I was cleaning the house today with bleach and Fabuloso with my waist trainer on. That fupa was. It was just
But more importantly, what color of Fabuloso? That's what I want to know.
lavender. Hello, it's got to be the purple one.
Thank you. Thank you. It's got to be the purple. There's somebody over
Listen,
here with the blue, and I'm like,
the
blue.
blue is okay if you're gonna clean the bathroom, but I don't like the blue too much. It has to be the purple one. The purple one smells good.
This purple one smells the best. It's this is what it is. It is what it
Mhm.
is for sure.
It's like stop like messing around with apple fabuloso and all this. Listen, we
No,
need one. That's it. Puerto Ricans have bleach, purple fabuloso, and pine sol. That's what we have.
that's what we have. And you got to put the pine sol in the toilet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
What you
We
got to
have a
do.
little bottle of fabuloso. Every time you go, then you,
That's right.
yep,
Yep.
yeah, kind of like you said with the charcoal. It does that little.
This is why I love you, because I don't think that there's anybody else in the world that speaks my language, because
Yeah,
I am always like making up words, and there's got to be a sound effect with them, and my family teases me. They're like, "Oh, really? Is that how
yeah,
it is? Is
it's
that what it is?"
embedded in our
Yeah,
DNA. That's just what it is. Puerto Ricans do that. Oh, and you saw over there. That's what we do to
that's what
point.
we do.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh,
Yep, that's just all it is noises.
noises all the time. With the noises all the time. I was asked in the chat if you have your own YouTube channel, and I don't think that you do.
Mm-mm.
No, you're just jumping in the chat on everybody else's channel, and I thought that you might have had one.
No, you know what's funny? People at work have like for years. They're like, "Why don't you do like stand up comedy?" I'm like, I don't know. I work for a municipality. I don't know how that'll go over.
Oh. You are hilarious. You are really, really funny. You are so funny. We laugh. I mean, we just laugh and laugh and
Mm.
laugh. And there have been times I've had some really dark days. And Lane, but I must be on her radar or something. But like
Yeah,
she pops up, she's like, "Girl, how are you? Girl, what's going on, girl?" I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"How are you?"
Hello, you're not talking to me right now, okay?
Like, and don't you tell me I'm fine. Don't you give
Yeah,
me the fine. Don't you
yeah.
dare. You better tell me straight. I can't hide. I can't hide from Elaine.
Suéltala, sopa, suéltala.
She's like, "Don't make me take my chocolate. You." I go,
Yeah.
"Why?" Oh man, I'm gonna hit upside the head from Elaine from the other side of the country, like legit. Oh my gosh. Okay, okay. All right. So, talk to me about your practice in regards to like the cultural shift. I mean, we got a lot of, you know, different cultures and different people of various walks of life or whatever. Do you like talk to me about the egg, Elaine? Talk to me about this egg. You a rub
About the
egg on me?
huevo.
You rubbing eggs on people, Elaine?
Huevo.
The Weibo, the
Yeah,
Weibo
no, no,
Roncero,
huevo.
Weibo,
Yes,
Weibo,
huevo. Um, no, we use a lot of cascarilla.
hmm
That and camphor.
Yeah, it's a lot of camphor.
So,
You were telling me about your camphor bath. I was like, ooh, I need to do this camphor bath. Was it you who was
yeah.
talking about camphor bath? Yeah. From
Well,
Mountain Rose Herbs,
let
right?
me
You get
tell
the
you.
oil. She's done left. She's done left, y'all. She coming back. She's got a lot of really cool ideas, y'all. She does.
You see this? This is
Holy
been
crap.
sitting. This is my grandfather's recipe. I'm pretty sure that we could like light a rocket with this shit.
Probably. I can smell it from here.
Listen.
Don't breathe it in straight. You were just
That's
coughing.
Caru, Laurel. So listen, so my grandfather, listen, this hair is like I don't know what's doing. My grandfather in Puerto Rico was a yelvero.
Uh-huh.
My mother actually has his book that he uses
Ooh.
for herbs. She won't give it to me until she passes. Then it's
Well,
mine. And I'm like, oh, I want that book so bad.
why is that
No,
okay? If she's Catholic, why is that okay, but what you're doing isn't?
uh, because she Puerto Rican and I got stuck. Oh, there we
Okay.
go.
Okay.
So it's just, it's like I said, there's so many like double standards because they'll be like, oh, no, no, you got to go to church, but don't you put your purse on the floor, girl. You're going to go broke.
You cannot put your purse if you are Hispanic at all. You
You
put
put
that
your
purse
purse on the
on the
floor,
floor. Oh
you're going to get an elbow
no.
to the throat.
They have the
You
little
better
purse
put that. Yep.
or the
No,
back of the
and then on top of that, God forbid if they're sweeping. If you're not married and they sweep near your feet, you better put those feet up
chair.
because you will never get married. If they
Nope.
don't touch one bristle on one of your feet, that's it. You're done.
It's like Puerto Rican Catholics are like fishermen. I mean, they are so superstitious. It is
Listen,
crazy. Yeah.
mind you, my grandfather, he practiced. He had, my mother doesn't talk about it very much because she saw a lot of stuff going on in her house and she doesn't want to tell me a lot of details. But
Oh
the stuff
wow.
that I've been able to hear, like she's been able to tell me, my grandfather was actually hexed by his neighbor over land. And she hexed him with menstrual blood. She put menstrual blood in his coffee.
Oh,
My
woo!
grandfather slowly started rotting from the inside. I'm dead.
Shut
I shit you not.
Shut up.
He had to have both his legs amputated. And when I mean amputated, it just wasn't one just amputation. It was cut and cut and cut until when he passed away, he literally looked like a Barbie doll with the legs popped off. He
Oh
had
my God.
no legs at all. So
What
he
did
was
he do to piss this woman off? What
geez,
happened? You
I
don't know?
mean, so my grandfather and my mother's side of the family, my grandfather was very educated, and back in those days, that was very very weird. He had been in the military, and then somehow they had scrounged up enough money to actually send him to college, which was like unheard of. So my grandfather was very well educated,
Uh-huh.
My grandmother only had probably like a third grade education, but you could not screw her up her finances. She knew that shit.
Mhm.
And he started just he was an alcoholic, but then he had like this what we call an indio in which is like an old Indian totem in the
Okay.
house where my mother's like he would, give him offerings of rum, cigars, stuff like that. And but then all this bad stuff started happening and then she wouldn't talk about it anymore. Then she told us so the land where my grandfather and my grandmother lived at,
Uh-huh.
the lady, there was this it's like in the country and there's like more land. They're sitting on about at least like an acre and a half. And in the back, she wanted to like build something or but that was my grandfather's land. So he's
Okay.
like, "No, that's mine." Well, I guess she got upset and
And
she was
Kirsten.
like, "Oh, come over and have some coffee." And some coffee was that happened when my grandfather had his autopsy and he literally was rotten all inside. He,
That's
he had gotten cancer and the cancer like literally spread all over.
what
Supposedly it
the
started off
hell?
as prostate cancer, but it was like he was literally rotten from the inside. So that's why like Puerto Ricans will tell you don't when you go to somebody's house, you don't know them that well, you better not drink not a damn thing.
You don't. That's a thing. That's a thing. Yep.
So
That
then
is well,
she did
that's a thing in witchcraft anyhow. That is the thing. If we don't really, really, really know you, I mean, breaking bread with somebody is a very sacred thing. Yeah.
hmm
Hmm.
So she like right now the property. Let me see. My grandmother's been. She passed away. Jesus Christ, my maybe 17 years ago.
Hmm.
They have not been able to sell that property at all.
Really?
At all. I had a dream, and I hardly ever have dreams with my grandmother.
Uh-huh.
Even my mother, like that's never been a thing with my grandmother. I tend to have prophetic dreams, but I never had one with her. And once I had like these dreams are like vivid, like in color, like this is happening right now. Where she was standing, she wasn't saying anything, but she was pointing for me to dig like in the where she had her garden in the front.
Hmm.
So I happened to tell my mother this, and my mother like vaguely said, "Well, I had the instructions of where this thing was buried and how to dispose and destroy it, but I threw
The,
those away."
the Indian statue?
No, I don't know what's buried there. Apparently, there's something buried in the property that's
Uh-huh.
causing for it not to.
No.
Yes,
What is
something. I don't know if the lady put it in there. Somebody
maybe?
put something in the property. My mother got instructions. She had instructions on how to take it out. I happened to, and I didn't know this. I happened to have a dream, and I said, "Mom, I had a dream with Grandma. She was saying to dig something up in the garden. I have no idea what it is."
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
that's when she came and she told me, she goes, "Yeah, something's buried on the property. I know that it's buried there. I had instructions on how to get rid of it, but I threw
Uh-huh.
them because I didn't want to deal with it."
How's that working for her?
Uh, They haven't sold the property. The property, nobody wants it.
Wait,
So
I
it's like
can't
sitting there.
remember which one of the saints. There's one of the saints that you bury in the property, to sell your house. Who is
St.
it?
Joseph. St. Joseph.
Joseph. Okay, so yeah, we had done that when we were trying to sell our property in Texas because no, it wasn't selling for a while, and I was getting so frustrated. And we did that, and we did some other stuff, and then I did like a whole big like ritual situation, which actually worked. But like I wonder, I know that if you bury him upside down, that means one thing. If you bury him right side up, it's another.
Well, I
I
don't know
don't.
what's buried over there. I don't think it's a statue. My mother knows what's in there. She
She
knows that
was
there's something
saying,
in there, but she won't go anywhere near it because she's seen all the apparently when my my mother was growing up, my grandfather was an alcoholic,
yeah,
and somehow during these alcoholic binges that he would have, he would become like possessed. It was like they would have to tie him up. It was a mess. So, but my mother doesn't really like to talk about that stuff.
because she's got trauma. She got trauma from
Yeah.
it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
hello, I want to know. Like, the tea, miss, spill the tea. I want to know. And
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
even
yeah.
done, like, when I went to Puerto Rico, I've done work to see if we could get it sold with soil from the property. I've lit candles. I've done St. Joseph over here.
Hmm.
And it's just I get
Nope.
I honestly like I'll have a dream later on. They're like it's not gonna work.
Oh shit.
So I'm like I told my mother I'm like well you don't want to deal with it. I'm not dealing with it if I don't know what the hell's in there.
Man. Well, she's the one that has to do it then. She's the one that has to do it. But if she threw away the instructions, what's going to happen now? It's going to pass down to the next generation or something. Or is this lady still alive? Is she still alive?
Yep. She's got to be like freaking 100 years old.
So do you think that when she passes,
She's like deaf. She can't talk. She's wheelchair like ridden. Like but she just won't die.
well, evil don't die. Evil don't die. Just changes form.
So my mother's like, steer clear, because I was thinking about buying the property.
Steer clear.
Yeah, just stay away. You gotta stay away. I'm
I
like,
have
they
family.
were selling me the property for like, I think it was like $25,000.
Oh my
The
God.
housing is going down, but I mean, it's a whole field. It's got orange trees. It's got there's these things called rose apples. Is it
Yeah,
rose
the
apple?
little rose apples, the little crab apples.
No, rose apples.
Rose apples.
Yeah, they're called poma rosa. So when it's really weird. I don't know how to
Tell
explain it because it doesn't look like a regular apple and it tastes like flowery, but it's like a fruit that's like very, very well known in Puerto Rico. They have that. They have a tree where they have the native, I don't know what the hell they are, these birds that nest there, so they can't take that tree down. It's a whole lot of mess. It's a whole lot
a whole lot of mess. It's a
of
whole lot
mess.
of. Where in Puerto Rico is this? Because I've got family in Puerto Rico, and I can ask my auntie FEMA and find out what the hell. Like, hey, go over here. We need you to go over
My
here. Why am I
my
going over here?
mother's from
No,
it's in Centenejas. Those is part of Sidra, which
uh-huh.
is near Caguas. It's the metropolitan area. My father is from like the other side of the island. So if
Okay.
people ask me, they're like, you're Puerto Rican, right? I'm like, yeah. They're like, where are you from? Well, I was born and raised here in
Uh-huh.
Connecticut. So to my family in Puerto Rico, I'm known as a New Eurekan.
The New
Until
European.
listen, until they taste my rice, and then they're like, you need to show our wives how to cook like this. Yup, I know that's right.
That's a
So
thing. That's a thing. Now, talk about Puerto Rican food. So you make, I have been craving plantains for some time. Like somebody just chop up some plantains and cook them up in the pan. That sounds good to me right now with some rice. But do you make tamales with the banana leaves? You know what I'm talking about, right?
we don't make tamales, we make pasteles.
Pasteles.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I make them with my mom. So it's customary to make them for Christmas because
Yeah.
it's a lot of work to grind up all those root vegetables and it's just not it's like green banana. It's not
Mhm.
we put one plantain in there for it to get a little bit stiff, like to
Yeah.
hold
Yeah.
the masa together. But
It's like a
it's like
glue. It's like a glue.
carol root, carob or whatever. I know the names in Spanish. But then we put all of that with pork. I'm off
Uh-huh.
the pork, so I'm pretty sure that I'm getting my Puerto Rican card revoked
Oh
because I'm off
no.
the pork.
Yeah, you can't be Puerto Rican and not like the pork.
I like bacon, but the roasted pork shoulder, I got one bad one once, and I'm like, no, thank you. Nope.
No, nope, nope, good, nope, good.
My stomach is like, no, child, nope. You remember the last time?
You're like your
Yeah.
bowels, your bowels can't take it no more. Your bowels.
Yeah, the McGurgles. Yeah.
You're
What's
like,
that, a
what's wrong?
Plano situation happening down there?
There was a rumble in my tumble, for
Yep.
sure, for sure, for sure. It's no joke making those pasteles. I'm telling you. So when I was 5, I had all my tias in a line at the table, and then it's just like I just went to the kitchen to like get some drink, and I think it was just I don't it was just like a little fruit drink, like a fruit punch or something, whatever. And there's I had it there. We were in California, and my grandmother, she is just like, you will sit and you will spread and you will and you, like it was like a production line, and I remember my hands were aching. I am like 5 or 6 years old, and they do not care. They do not
No,
care. And then if you step out of line, or if like I'm like I gotta go to the bathroom, I got the fork to the head. Do you ever get that? Oh, the
no,
fork,
the wooden spoon.
the
I got the
spoon.
wooden spoon. Yeah.
Well, she had a fork in her hand. I've got forked.
I got a
A
lot of Avon brushes. Because
lot
let
of
me
what?
tell you, Puerto Rican moms brushing hair, like,
Brushing
I
hair.
heard that when I was growing up, I looked like, the Play-Doh when you squeeze it and your brains come out, like, almost like you're popping a zit.
Yeah.
That's how tight they put your hair in ponytails. So you were like this,
Yeah.
your school pictures, and you're like, oh my God. And then, why do you think I have this freaking messed up hairline? My mother messing around, like, it was either that or they cut your bangs from here. So I had this messed up looking mullet. What the hell is this? And then all matchy matchy. Everything's matchy. I have a picture that my brother gave me. I got a navy blue turtleneck on with a striped skirt that's like cranberry and navy, with navy blue tights and navy blue shoes with some bow mess. What the heck? Where was I going? I look like a messed up, like, that peanut butter that has the peanut butter and the jelly? That's how I look.
I can't. I can't.
It's like, what in God's name? That's why you need to light a little candle to your little Virgin Mary so you can stop freaking dressing me like this shit.
Yes.
I was the only one in my
Yes, for
school.
sure.
We didn't have a dress code back then. My mother used to go to Puerto Rico when we went to visit. She used to
Yeah.
go buy me the uniforms and the colors of the school over there in
Uh,
Puerto Rico. I was the only one in the goddamn school with a fucking uniform. I want to wear my purple corduroy overalls. I don't want to wear this navy blue and yellow shirt mess with Mary Jane's on.
Mary
And
Jane.
everybody's looking at me and they're like,
What
you
is
go to
this?
Catholic school? Yeah. No, my mother's Puerto Rican. Sorry.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah.
you remind me of something. So when I married Bear, I inherited two kiddos because our son Casper and then Amber. And
Uh-huh.
Amber had big long hair, and then she never wanted to brush it. She'd come back from her mom's house with like that, like that knot in the back of the head or
Oh,
whatever.
the
And I'd
mat.
have to, yes, the mat. And I'd have to get it out or whatever. And I'd make her sit. I'd make her sit like my mother, my tias would make me. And I would just like, she would have
Yup,
to sit
right
on the
between the
ground.
legs.
Yep, between the legs, and then I kind of like if you get out of line, they're gonna put like like the knee on your shoulder, like they are not playing. And I did that. It was totally natural. And Amber to this day says, "Don't, no, I don't want you to brush my hair. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good." She's not like she was like in tears.
I
This little
honestly
what a
think
child. She didn't know what it was.
My dad, my mother, because in our culture, long hair is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever cut a girl's hair at
Nope.
all. They get a
Nope.
trim, you have to ask the dad for permission.
It's a thing.
So my dad, like my hair was past my butt. And my mom, when we would go to the beach, my mom would like braid it. But then
Mm-hmm.
it turned into this knotted mess because of course I'm rolling around in sand and stuff. And she's like, "Get over here!" And I'm like, "Oh, there she's gone. I don't know what happened. Se fue. Raven. Hello.
I touched something.
Auxilio.
I
Socorro.
I done touched something on my thing because
Don't
I'm
tell
supposed to be
me that.
on the laptop, but I'm on the phone and I'm trying to make it all work and there is notifications and I'm like, what's going on? And I don't know.
You don't touch
Continue,
nothing, okay? Nothing.
continue, my friend.
I don't even know what that was. Oh, so my hair, yeah, my hair was like a knotted mess. And my mother is, because for some reason, I think that they're just, it's embedded in their DNA that says when your daughter's hair is tangled, we're gonna detangle it like we're turning on a push mower. Yeah, so it's like, whong, whong, like that. So I'm like, God. So my dad would sit there because he didn't want me crying. And he would take, my father was definitely one of those with like the big hair, and he had like his like sideburns like down to here. He always carried a tiny little comb because he always had the shirts with the pockets because he used to smoke.
Yeah, yeah.
So he would take out this little comb like this, and he would sit there for 5 hours detangling my hair so my mother wouldn't pull it.
Oh, see, they didn't have the detangle spray. They didn't have
Oh,
it. Sometimes they
listen.
put oil in your hair, and that would be nice,
Yep.
but then you had to wash it, and then you had to go through the whole damn thing again.
Yes.
Yeah, there were things. There were things.
Sorry, I'm like rolling away here.
What are you doing there?
Yeah. Would you like to?
Okay, my friend, are you open to questions?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions for Miss Elaine? And if you do, stick them in the chat and make them all bolded so that way we can see them because, our eyesight is going. So it's really good to bold things for us older people. See,
Listen,
okay.
speak for
I,
yourself, honey.
what was that?
I said, speak for yourself, honey.
Speak for yourself.
I
Well,
only
I'll
got
tell
three
you.
grays. Okay, they're the middle of the crowd over here, and I can camouflage them.
Be grace. I got them all. I got them all for you.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? A long time ago, I mean, it's not a long time ago, but a while back, Trina, Tequila, Bex, I believe, all went back to Salem for a second trip. And you,
Yes.
all of a sudden, I was tracking them on Facebook and I was seeing where they're at and what they were doing. And I saw them pop in with Nathan. So you saw Nathan on my channel not too long ago
Yes.
doing talk. So
I
there's
didn't get
Nathan.
to meet Nathan.
You didn't get to meet Nathan? Okay, so sweet. So sweet, that kid. He's
I
not a
got to
kid
meet
anymore.
Britt, and I forgot the name of the other guy that was with Britt.
I don't think I
That are
know that.
are they from Massachusetts? I think they're
Um,
from Massachusetts, but Brittany and
okay.
I forgot his name. I'm really bad with names. I never forget a face, but I'm bad with names. I'm an accounting person, so I deal with numbers.
You
Except for
huh.
exit numbers, I can't remember for shit.
Well, I'm
But
having
if
trouble
you ask me
reconciling
some employee,
the checking account at my shop. So maybe I need to call you. Like I'm having trouble. I'm waiting for
my
the
brother
CPA.
has his own business, and
Uh-huh.
for a time there I was doing his books until I like put my hands up and I said, I'm not doing this shit with you. I
No.
organize everything because I'm a double Virgo.
You're
I'm
double Virgo.
almost
Okay.
in the cusp of a triple Virgo.
Holy crap.
Yes. So I'm a Virgo moon and sun, and I'm a Leo rising. So I'm a whole lot of mess.
This makes so
Whole
much
lot
sense to me.
of
This
mess.
makes so much sense. I love it.
Whole lot of mess.
Oh my
Right
God.
now, I'm feeling my daughter's a Libra, my oldest, and the little one, which is a spawn of Satan, is a Pisces.
She's a Pisces. Wait a minute, Pisces. Aren't they Pisces? Aren't they go with the flow? Pisces?
Listen, she must be some rolling like river rafting river then because I tell my oldest, honey, because my oldest, I told you she's in boot camp right now. She's in the military. Oh, I have a good story to tell you about that.
Go tell me, tell me.
Um, and I was like, you better make sure that you save up all that military money because you're gonna have to bail me out because this little girl is gonna make me catch case. She got a paper cut on her finger. She's telling everybody how I cut her with a knife. What the? You're 3. What? She goes, yeah, mommy, you cut me with a knife.
You're like,
Why?
where's
Because
the
I'm
knife?
Puerto Rican. That's like everybody at work calls me the white witch. So whenever they want stuff done, they're like, Elaine's the one. Go to Elaine. She has something for it. She either has a tea for it, some essential oil stuff,
Uh-huh.
or my best friend from work. Both of her houses she was trying to sell in when it was a shitty market.
Mm-hmm.
The first one sold the same day. No, the first one sold in 10 days, and the
Uh-huh.
second one sold the same day.
Oh,
She didn't
whoa.
believe me. I said, Chuck, don't worry, I'll take care of it. She goes, I can't do this at my house because my husband's gonna be like, what the hell is this? Listen. And now I'm having problems with my supervisor. So like the running joke is I'm like, she better not make me light a candle.
Mm-hmm.
I said, all I'm saying is if you find like dust and stuff around her chair, around her floor, don't go up in there. Cause I'm gonna light that. You gonna get the hell out because you like overcooking my grits right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
He's
my
so funny.
daughter. So my daughter before, so when they're off in boot camp, they can't take anything, basically. They
No,
get
and you
every
can't send them anything either.
huh?
You can't send them anything either. Like you gotta wait until it's okay.
So what she could take was like a religious medal.
Mm-hmm.
I also work with Saint Michael. Saint
Okay.
Michael has been with me since I was very, very young too. And I made her an amulet. It had a Celtic cross.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Saint Michael was in the middle of it, and I had a red evil eye pendant
Mm-hmm.
attached to it. I did my ritual with it, my protection, yada yada. And she comes and she's like, Mom, did you start my protection work yet? And I said, I trust me, you're protected all the time. This one was like definitely it's almost like how like Voldemort couldn't touch Harry because then he's like, Wah! Yeah. So they're melting. It's too much hot, too much caliente. Ouch. Pica, 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 pica. So she's over there. She just wrote to me, let me take these damn door knockers out. You see, typical Puerto Rican, got my
See?
door knockers on. All I
Oh
need is
no.
my
She's
Vaseline and
taking
my
her
hair
earrings
clip,
off. She's
and we
taking her
ready to
earrings
go. Listen here, honey. We ready to go.
off. I don't want to be on the bad side of Elaine. I don't want it.
So she sent me a letter. I just got a letter about 2 days ago. And she goes, Oh my God, mom. She goes, I was having such a rough day. She's like, I woke up, I went and, took a shower. And she's like, when I looked at my chest, I had a big red mark in the shape of an angel right
Oh,
in my chest.
oh
So
wow.
she's like, I definitely know that you're,
You're doing something.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, listen, that's my baby. Puerto Rican people love their kids.
Mm.
I love my babies.
Ridley had one time called me and it's just like, Mom, there's all these cats outside my house. And I'm like, yeah, that's a thing. Why? Don't worry about them. But they're all
Yeah,
like watching me. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
kind of
know.
the purpose. I'm like,
Yeah,
just pay no mind.
yeah,
Pay no mind. I'm gonna feed them some catnip or little treat.
yeah,
Go do
yeah. A little bit of tuna fish, they're good.
exactly. Exactly.
That's like I had a brain fart. I was gonna say something, and when you turn 40, like your brain just it's like an old Chevy.
Yeah.
Like, like I don't get it.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
constant. I'm walking around and I'm like, why did I come in here? What was I
Yeah.
doing? What's my name?
Yeah.
What's my name?
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó?
I
I
need
don't know.
another cup of coffee. I know. I hear you. I am
This
over
is
here with
this is
my.
that Puerto Rican stuff. None of that Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts mess.
Oh,
To
see, I
us,
love a Starbucks. I love a Starbucks. Mm-mm.
us, Dunkin' Donuts is piss water. That's what we call it.
I don't like Dunkin'. I don't like Dunkin'.
Because
Because they mess with my Starbucks. I am Team Starbucks. See, look, I'm even wearing green.
well, Starbucks is okay. I like their hot chocolate because I feel like it tastes just like the hot chocolate that we used to drink
Mexican
for.
hot chocolate, like the dark chocolate, the patties, like
Yes,
the yeah, yeah. I
we got
have that.
these big bars,
Hmm.
and then they boil them. They're notorious for you always drink
Ooh.
that chocolate when somebody's passed away.
Hold on a second. I have it. Hold on. I got it. Ugh, let me get off my
Hey,
couch. I got it.
hey, woo! Look at Big Booty Judy. Let's see. That's right, Noah Cafe Bustelo, right here, honey.
See, I don't know if I drink it anytime anybody passes away, but I'll tell you. Oh, see, I got my chocolates. This is drinking.
Oh
This is a
no,
little.
ours doesn't look like that. Ours is
This is
chocolate.
Mexican.
It's yellow. It's just like that. It's a huge bar, and
Smaller. I got
it's
these in San Antonio.
customary for when somebody passes away. What they do is it's like a I don't even know how the hell you say it. Like we call it un velorio. I don't know how to say it in English. Oh, it's like a rosary. So they do it for 9 days.
Okay.
So they pray so that the person that's passed gets out of purgatory because once they die, they go straight to purgatory, apparently,
Okay.
which I don't understand. Like, why is there a holding tank?
Huh.
Doesn't God know everything you're doing? Why he
That's a
got to put you in a
good point.
holding tank?
Why you got to put me in the.
Like you sitting there at the deli pulling numbers, like what you call it? What is that? Beetlejuice with that freaking long ass number. So then they would serve the hot chocolate and they would actually put a piece of like Gouda or cheddar on the bottom and they would pour the piping hot chocolate. So you would like drink the chocolate and it had the cheese underneath.
Why?
I don't know.
Why
That's
the fuck
just,
in peace?
I don't know. It's good.
Is it good?
It is. It is.
I
You don't
like
taste the cheese, but the cheese starts to melt. So when you finish the chocolate, then you eat the cheese. I don't know. It's a Puerto Rican thing.
I don't know about this. I've
Yeah.
not heard about this business. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Hot
Jennifer,
chocolate with the
Jennifer Knighton, look at the chat. Is that what it is?
team up time.
Not team up time. Jennifer Knighton.
I looked them up. Rose apples are so neat. They're really good.
Who is you got to go down. Go down in that
What?
chat. Where are you? Way
The
down,
Brit-
way down. Keep going. Keep going.
the last one I see is it the abuelita hot chocolate?
Abuelita.
No, I don't. We don't use the abuelita. It's chocolate cortés. That's the name of
'Cause,
it.
Abuelita has the
That's the
little
Mexican chocolate.
lady with the white hair and the bun and the thing sitting there
Yeah,
like this.
no, we have these bars. It looks like a huge Hershey bar, but the freaking chocolate is. My mother used to get so mad because I used to like eat the chocolate from the refrigerator. And when she went to go make the hot chocolate, because my mother was the one that would always pray at everybody's thing. So whenever somebody passed away, they would call my mother, and my mother would be the one running the rosario for 9 days. So then she would always have it, and then I would eat the chocolate, and she'd just get pissed off at me. She's like, "¿Dónde está el chocolate? You ate it all." But yeah, like with them, it's like if you eat, you're getting fat. If you don't eat, you're starving yourself.
Starving yourself. You don't like my food.
No, yeah. Why you not eating this?
Why
Toma,
don't you?
you.
Why you no eating? Yep.
Yeah. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? Let me see what other stories I have. I don't think I have
I
any more. Like my
remember.
mother, so I started like my herbal studies. I definitely want to go into get like an herbalist course.
Yeah.
So like that stuff. My mother's like, you're just like your grandfather. And then my grandmother used to tell me, now this is weird because my mother's family has a lot of different qualities. Like I don't want to say powers because it's not like but my aunt in Florida sees dead people. Like she freaks out because she sees them like in blood, like gory.
Oh,
She'll freak out.
that's what you to take.
I tend to have dreams. Like
Uh
I
huh.
knew when my mother passed away. I already knew. Like I was waiting for the phone call. I was like, my mother called and I said, Grandma passed away, didn't she? And
Mm-hmm.
my mother's like, yes. I said, did she pass away? It was like 3:45 in the morning when I woke up from my dream. And my mother called me at like 6. I said, did she pass away like at 3:45? My mother's like, how did you know that?
You're like, I
Yeah.
had a feeling. Yep. Yep.
I've had dreams where I've called my sister-in-law and said, don't let my niece go to like some pool party because I had a dream that she was gonna drown.
Oh man.
She didn't let her go, but yet there was a kid from the church that drowned in his pool. It's yeah. I've tried to like interpret them, and I've tried to but I can't. I don't know why I can't. I can't like target who it's for, what it is. I can automatically tell my mother like somebody's sick, isn't it? She goes, no, what? Why? What? Well, you're gonna get a phone call. Somebody's sick. The crow has been like bothering me, and I had a dream that somebody's teeth was falling out.
Oh man.
Or if you're messing around with like dirty clothes, like old vintage like clothes, it's not new clothes. Somebody's gonna pass away. It's a mess. But my
Oh.
grandmother used to tell me that I had the gift of healing hands.
Uh
So
huh.
she would come from Puerto Rico to visit every so often. And the first thing she would do is she would always stay at our house. She would sit down. Her legs were always, she was diabetic, and her legs were always swollen.
Mhm.
And she would sit down on the bed. I would rub her legs
Mhm.
with like lotion or whatever, and they wouldn't hurt the whole time that she was here.
Oh, wow.
The swelling was gone. But if she went to my aunt's house and stayed over there and I hadn't like touched her yet, then it would still be swollen.
Oh my God.
I never knew. Like I always wanted to. In our family, it's just so. My mother is just so closed that they don't want to say anything because they feel like if they talk about it, oh, like that's like opening the door, and then the bad stuff is gonna come. But not
That's
knowing that that's education for me to see where I come from. We have tons of my mother's side of the family has tons of uh African descent and Taino descent. Like if you see my mom, me and my mom kind of look alike. The only thing is I'm super light. My
mm-hmm.
mother definitely got the Taino Indian hair
Mm-hmm.
and the complexion. My brother, the same thing. My father's side of the family has a lot more Spanish. That's why
Mm.
I'm so light skinned.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they what do you call that? My grandmother's last name is actually when I was like looking it up, it's like a name of nobility or something. But there's like no pictures, there's nothing.
Mm. Mm.
So I'm like, this is like you guys kept shitty records. Like I know.
You can look that up because you know what? I've gotten, well, do you have like names?
Nope.
Do you have at least names or whatever? You got to get on
No name,
ancestry.com. Get
no
on
no
Ancestry.
name birth. I've tried nothing.
Nothing.
There's
Because
no
all
no
I've got all
pictures.
kinds of crap from that pops up from Puerto Rico on my ancestry.com. It's like ridiculous. I've got all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff.
My mother's father pops up because of his military, but
Yeah.
then like all the ancestors like going like from my grandmother's side or nothing really comes up.
Well, it does not help that there's like 12 names to one person. Like
Yeah.
generally, it does not help.
Did you know that the Puerto Ricans used to name their children according to the Catholic calendar?
Shut up. Really?
Yes. So my dad, according to the Catholic calendar, my dad was born on the day of St. Carlos. So that's why my dad's name is Carlos. My
Oh my
mother, her middle name is Mercedes because of the Virgin of La Virgen de Merced.
Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so then my grandfather Nicholas, that's why he's, and then Angelina, my aunt. That
My grandmother, my father's mother, was born in October, which is actually the month of the Rosary,
uh-huh.
and her name was Rosario.
Rosario. What about September? What about September?
My mother was Mercedes. That's my mom's birthday. She's a Libra. That's
She's a
why me
leap.
and her.
What about like a September baby? So like my aunt Angie or Angelina was
Uh,
the end of September, September 28th, I think. That's when she was. And she's one
we're
of
gonna
my.
have to look at the. We're gonna have to pull up a Catholic calendar somewhere.
Hold this up. This is incredible.
Yeah, the same thing. My father has two birthdays because
How's
back
that?
then my father is old as shit. Let me just tell you that my father is. I come and I tell him that he is gonna be fossil fuel. I'm pretty sure that if I light him on fire, he would warm us up. I'm just saying.
You still
So
got that big thing. You got that big jug of jet fuel. There you go.
listen, I think with his farts, it would just ignite.
Oh, no,
He's
no,
he's
dude.
old. My dad's gonna be 80 years old this
Oh
year.
my God.
Yes,
Wow.
he works full time still.
Unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Like 15 hours of overtime on top of his 40 hours. Yeah, my dad's crazy.
Oh, look,
So
Carol Firestone says, my baby was born on September 29th on St. Gabriel's feast day, and his name is Gabriel Alexander. See? Look at that. Things that, oh,
So my
that's
father
interesting.
has two birthdays because back then they would they would be born, right? But there was nobody to take them into town to register them.
Okay.
So they would get registered a week later.
So then they have a second birthday.
Yes. So my
Oh,
father's birth certificate says November 11th,
uh-huh.
but he was really born the 4th.
Oh my gosh.
So
So which
then
one did you celebrate?
we celebrate the 11th, but then we'll for a long time we used to always get confused. Do we say happy birthday on the 4th? Because technically that's when you were born. Do you say like I don't know what are we doing here?
Like we don't
What are
want to like not say it on the 4th
yeah,
in case he's like, it's my birthday and no and everybody forgot.
yeah.
They're all waiting for the 11th. That's funny.
But
That's
then
funny.
that's the same. Let's see. You said September what?
28th,
September 28th.
2/8.
I don't know what the fuck this is. When Celis M something Ruiz. I don't know. I can't read this Catholic calendar.
And
That's
something Ruiz.
gibberish to me now.
Did you just say Ruiz? Okay. All right. So here's the thing. So Elaine and I had started talking about our ancestry and our families because I
Uh-huh.
have Ruiz. I am Ruiz and Perez. Go. And you?
I am Perez Ayala. And I have
You
Ruiz
also have Ayala.
and
I also have Ayala.
and we have Gonzalez. We listen, it's a whole lot of mess. Because in Puerto
It's a
Rico,
whole
it's
thing.
so weird because the woman over in Puerto Rico does not take the husband's last name at all.
No.
So they get married and then they keep their name.
Yes.
And then they keep their husband's last name as like the second last name if
I
they
know. It's
want it.
very confusing. It's
Yes,
very confusing. So
ridiculous.
my Aunt Angie and then with and her brother, my grandfather, so this is my great Aunt Angie, that was Perez and Ruiz, that whole family together. I mother, father, I'm not
And
exactly sure.
from
And
where in
she
Puerto Rico?
married, what was that?
From where in Puerto Rico? Sorry, I promise you guys that I'm not like this cold.
I'd have to look it up. It's on my phone, which is on here. So I'd have to like look it up. I don't have it here, but I'll have to message you. But okay, so then she marries Angel Ayala, who is actually related to Carlos Montalban, Ricardo Montalban.
Oh, Montalban. You know
Yeah,
that we had a neighbor named Montalban. They
but
lived right across the
Ricardo
street from us.
Montalban's name was never really Montalban. He took it. It was really Ayala. But
Huh.
whatever.
Yes.
Whatever. I was
We're
a
all
little and I was
related.
thinking that the guy from Fantasy Island was gonna like come and save me and take me away from all these evil people, and I was gonna go to Fantasy Island and live out my life with tattoo. I thought, I thought for sure, but no, he'd like run away when he was like a teenager or something, and like said, "See you later" to the family. Like that was a big deal. I never met him.
Well,
Nobody.
that happened to my one of my uncles had a fight with my grandfather. They didn't speak at all for a long time. He left. He came to Florida and he died without seeing my grandfather again. He was
Oh,
murdered like on either New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. My
mm-hmm.
mother had just connected with him after 26 years. He was
Really?
supposed to come up to visit, and we got the phone call that he was crossing the train tracks. He had just cashed his check to come up to see us, and he was held at gunpoint and executed on the train tracks, and they stole his. Then, when we told my grandfather, about 2 months later, my grandfather passed away.
Oh my God.
Like our life is just full of
Tragedy.
The whole this freaking it's like Panic at the Disco. Like what the fuck is going on?
That's a
I
band.
don't know what. No, yeah,
That's a band.
yeah. I write sins, not tragedies. That's what I'm saying. Listen, my brain com- remembers movies like nothing. So people ask me, I'm like, that reminds me of this movie. I'm like, sorry, my brain is like a wealth of useless information.
We have this in common because
Yeah,
I have a superpower of watching a movie or a show or a something or whatever, and I'm like, that person was in Downton Abbey. He was the butler to the da 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 da. And then like we're watching. I think it was the Bear. Noah turned me on to this one. It's the new fairy one. I forget what it's called. Fate? Is it Fate? And I
Paint
said,
the Wing
I said
Saga
that
or something. I haven't seen that one. I keep
it's good.
rewatching Penny Dreadful because I love it,
Oh, I
and
love
then I
Penny
get
too.
get to the end, and then I get pissed off all over again because
The
it's
way they
very
ended that was bull crap. That was bull
yes,
crap. But like, okay, so in this Fate one, I'm just like, oh, I said, she was the doctor on da da da, like she was the
yeah,
doctor on Nurse Jackie, and then I said, and then he was the butler in Downton Abbey, and then she was, and Bear's just like looking at me. He's like, I said, it's my superpower. I can tell. Like I can tell from like commercials. Like I like know
yeah.
exactly
Well, the
where he
same
went.
thing. My daughter's father, he sells plants, so I used to help him sell the plants. But of course, according to him, I don't. That's why that talk that you had with Tessa like
Yeah.
touched me so much because I was in a narcissistic
Really.
relationship for a long time, for a really long time.
Tessa was
It's still,
brave. Tessa was so brave. Oh, she was so scared, but she did such a good job.
it takes so much to cut ties. Like I had to go. Like my anxiety got so bad, I had to actually go on meds
Oh my God.
because my brain would not shut off.
Yeah.
And I think that by being on the meds and focusing on my practice, that's grounded me. And every day is like, I don't even know how to explain. Like, I wake up, a lot of people think, well, I've got to meditate and meditation is, there's so many different ways to meditate. You can meditate with music banging. Like, listen, when we clean, us Puerto Ricans be playing the music like on blah, 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 like you can hear it down the street. All you
Yep.
need is some Coronas in our front yard, and we're all set.
Yep.
And that helps just clear out the energy. That helps just do
Mm-hmm.
it. You can be in the tub. You can be even like fall asleep. You can even like even in the mornings. I'll like sit and like turn the radio off in the car just on my way to work.
Yep.
You say, I leave it in your hands. You're the one that's driving this car because if not, I'm driving on three wheels and the freaking thing is going like this. And I'm about to like roll that bitch over. So
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
so it's like I don't know, it's just it's so great, having this community, having these friends. Like I have never had friends like you guys in my
Oh,
life. And I have very few people that are really, really close to me. Probably maybe one or two that are like super, super close over here. But like Trina, she's to me, she's like my aunt. I love her and respect. Like when I was going through what I was going through with my niece, she was doing readings, she was lighting candles, she was checking up on me. And for that, I'm always gonna be grateful to her. Always. um Me and you talked, you helped me through a lot of stuff, um and there were
I feel like you helped me through stuff.
well
Like I don't know what I did. I just love you.
that's the thing, like to actually have friendships in where you're not being judged, for
Oh,
what you feel, what like you're just on the same wavelength. Because some of these people, they just don't, especially are like family, close family, when they're in their,
yeah.
they see it as spirituality, but it's basically a religion to them. That's all it is. You
Yeah.
wake up on Sundays, you go to church, and then you come home.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're committing the same sin every freaking day,
Yeah.
but then you think that you can go on Sunday and just do whatever. Like that, it doesn't work like that. It just does not work like that. And that's why, like, the path that I'm on, like, when it came to shadow work, I didn't, I tried to do it before I was ready to do it, and I had to keep slamming the door because I couldn't face it. I couldn't face a lot of that stuff. All this trauma, all this stuff I had. Mind you, I consider myself a, a strong female, but this past relationship, it broke me. It
Mm.
beat me down to a point where I looked in the mirror, I didn't know who the hell I was anymore.
How do you feel now?
I feel amazing. I like look at myself and I sit and just, I give myself my spiritual bath because Florida water is the bomb.com. And I'll, make sure I take a spiritual bath before just to get rid of any ickiness or whatever. And I sit there and just let either my deities talk to me, my ancestors talk to me, or I just talk like the little one is like, Mommy, who you're talking to? Mind your business. Mind your business. Leave me alone. Get your
Yeah.
tablet. Slice you up and mind your business. But it's it's such a sense of like relief. Like when I come to my house now, I am happy to come home. I'm happy. I'm at peace. This is my sanctuary now.
Yeah.
And there was so like my house was so like drawn down with his negative.
Junk.
I would come home and he would be upset and I didn't know why he would be upset. And now I'm like, oh no, 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 we're not doing that. Bye, click. Like I'm not feeding into that mess. And I've even done that with my parents. I love
Yes.
my parents. I adore my parents. I would do anything for my parents. But my parents, you could categorize them as they were emotionally abusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get stuck in this rut where this is what you have to do as a Hispanic woman. You have to cater to your um husband
Mm-hmm.
or
And
the
your
main
family.
male in the family. You always come last.
Yep.
Oh,
That's the thing.
my mother has been married with my dad for almost 50 years.
Yeah.
And my father will not take a bath unless his clothes are laid out. My
Yep.
father does not know how to boil water.
Oh my gosh. These are truths. Woo. Yeah. This happened.
And
This is a thing.
that's how I grew up. Like I grew up old school Puerto Rican. That's just how it was. My father was the head of the house. That's it. But yeah, I saw my mother. My mother worked two jobs. She used to take me with her to her second job. She
Yeah.
worked as a paraprofessional for 40 some odd years. She just retired a couple years ago.
Hmm.
And she used to work cleaning buildings afterwards. Now, my mother asks me now, like, well, why do you work so much? That's what you guys showed me.
Yeah.
I've been
Like,
working since I was 13 years old.
yeah.
I love to work. If I'm not working, I have to either be going to school or working. One or the other. I can't just work one job. For some reason I have to overload myself and go through burnout in order
Mhm.
to feel like I'm. And when I was in this relationship, I was working full time.
Mhm.
I was raising his two girls.
Mm-hmm.
I had my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
His mother lived with us.
Shit.
He only
Mm-hmm.
held part-time jobs, and then he had his little business
Mm-hmm.
of the plants. So I was working my job. I was taking care of all this stuff. Plus, I was working with him on the weekends. So I was working 7 days a week, taking care of everything in the house. I was cooking him food every day. Everything was a complaint. Everything was never good enough.
Yeah.
And it just got to a point like when he came back, I came and I told him, I said, well, when you promised God, because God saved you from your collapsed lung that collapsed twice,
Right.
you made a promise, right? So when I'm like, when you make promises to deities, they're like, all right, when you gonna pay up, bro?
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on? All right, I gave you this. You said you were gonna give me something back,
Where
and you
is it?
haven't. Then you're wondering when stuff pops off. This is broken. That's broken. This is, and you're like up Shit's Creek without a paddle.
Yep.
Well, you didn't say what you were gonna do. Like you didn't do what you said you were gonna do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you have all this faith. You can't spiritually. You cannot think that it's all about gimme, gimme, gimme. It's a give and take. So when you go to your deity, and of course this is just my opinion, the first thing you should do is just give them thanks for even like entertaining a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Buy a glass of water, some fresh flowers, piece of bread, whatever it is that they like, and just sit there. They're gonna know what's good for you and what's not good for you. They're gonna know if something is in your life for a reason, it's there for a reason, and if it's not there, it's not there for a reason.
Right.
And he didn't understand that. And I'm like, you came back, you promised all this stuff, and then you just got worse. And I couldn't have, I'm like, this is, I'm starting to become spiritually awakened. And this is just messing up my mojo. And you got to go. I can't do this anymore. I
That's a
can't.
thing. That's a thing. It's like once your eyes, your third eye, and whatever you want to call it, once you are spiritually woke, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. And to deny yourself, I mean, it's crippling. It can be crippling once you get there, and then you're like, oh no, 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 I don't see it anymore. The truth is, you're always going to see it. You can't unsee it anymore. It's just there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. It's almost like you're suffocating. You're
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to breathe clean air, but you keep like pushing smog into my lungs, and I can't have that
No
anymore.
smoke in my face. Yeah.
Yes. It's like, no, I had just had it. And then I came and it was painful because just like the tower in the tarot goes down. Well, what happens? Birth is painful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're in labor and we're giving life, we're screaming our heads off unless you have a cesarean and you're numb.
Yeah.
But when you've got a child coming out of your hoo ha, then it tends to be pain. I mean, cesareans are painful after the stuff wears off, but I mean, birth is painful.
Yeah.
And that tower came like crumbling
Yeah.
down, was completely demolished. Why? Because myself, my spiritual self, my spiritual foundation was so weak because I kept going back and forth and back and forth.
Mhm.
And I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know what this. And I don't know what that. It took that painful experience for her and all of my deities and all the saints that take care of me and all my ancestors to say, all right, you went through all this pain, but don't worry, we're going to take care of you. You need to follow through this time. Stop
Mhm.
bullshitting, because that's why it hurts so much now, much more now than it did before. because we tried to tell you before, but you
But you
didn't want
didn't
to listen.
listen. Yeah, didn't want to listen. Yeah.
Well, now we've got your attention, and now it freaking hurts, and now you feel so lost, and you feel like I literally my brain just wasn't shutting off. I wasn't sleeping. My brain was just all the time. And I just threw my hands up and I said, you know what? I can't do this me anymore. I just can't. And that's when they said, all right, we got you. You just got to make sure that you trust us and you follow through this time.
Yeah.
And it's been the most painful, the most amazing last 2 years of my freaking life. I sit there and there are times where I start to cry because I'm so thankful for what they have afforded me.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that my bond, like this was even hurting my daughter, my oldest. She was seeing all this stuff because I was weak, but my bond with her got so much stronger once I left all my worries and said, "Listen, universe, higher self, fix this for me because obviously I made a complete jumbled mess out of this. So I need your help to fix it." And slowly but surely, like right before my daughter left to boot camp, our relationship was so close. That's why it hurts so much that she's gone now because it was so much different. I was enjoying my kids. Before I
Yeah.
was like taking care of my kids, taking care of this, taking care of that, and not even taking care of myself. And
Yeah.
self care, it includes spiritual care, and a lot of people don't think that spirituality, yourself, your core, you don't have to believe in a deity. You don't have to. That's all right. But whatever it is that you do believe in, like you have to keep building on that because if you don't, your outer person, like your life won't flourish.
Yeah. Because you're gonna stay stuck in that rut.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
just like, it's been absolutely amazing. Now, if I do rituals, I love doing full moon rituals where if I'm having a rough week or whatever, I write my things down. And come the
Mhm.
full moon, I light them bitches on fire.
Let him go.
That's it. Come the new
Mhm.
moon, I'll sit outside and I'll just soak it. Like I'm lucky enough where I live at, we're south facing. My house is south facing, so the moon is literally like right there.
Wow.
We're in the front, and in the summer it's like in the back. So
Nice.
I'll just sit there and I'll just like soak it all in.
Moonbathing.
Yes, and I'll just like soak it all in, and it's amazing. Like it's a path that I didn't think that I would ever be on, but I am so grateful that I am on it. I'm so grateful that I found all of you. I'm
Oh,
so where I can have genuine connections that are actually going to feed my soul, not just empty ones. And like I love tequila and Sterling and like all of you, Noah, like I've never like met you in person, but I wish that you guys could know how influential and how wonderful you guys have been in my life.
we're gonna meet in person. I feel like there's that connection
I'm
that we
gonna be
have.
hugging you. We hug, kiss. I'm probably gonna tell Bear you're gonna have to sleep in the couch because I'm sleeping with her, and I'm throwing my leg on top of her, and gonna be the end of that. I'm
I
gonna
I'll
snuggle.
take it.
I
I'll
want
take
a scooter.
No, we'll see each other. We'll see each other one time. I mean, Salem is one of the things that I really want to do. I haven't been there, but it's hard when my friends keep going, but I'm like I get a little
I
jelly.
don't.
But,
I live about 2.5 hours from Salem,
okay.
and I like going during the off season
Yeah, no,
because
I want to
that's
go
where
during the
like
off season. I don't need to go during October. I don't need
No,
to go do
it's so
no.
commercialized, and you can't. When you go in the off season, I feel like you can genuinely feel like just the presence that's there, just the energy that's flowing through there.
I'd
You
like to
can,
go like maybe our birthday month. That would be cool. Like a September situation would be good. So we still get the fall. It's not so hot, things like that. But that would be
yeah, and
cool. Maybe
it's
one
right
day.
next to the water, so
Cool.
and there's like tons of cool cemeteries and stuff. Like my mother thinks I'm weird because I love going to the cemetery. Like that's how I taught my daughter how to drive.
Hmm.
I'm
And
like,
the
the
cemetery.
cemetery is just like a small little town, and you can't kill anybody except for your mama. So,
And then there's
but
still location, location, location. You don't have to get me far. If I
yeah,
do that, there I am.
yep.
Right there.
Just
There's a
leave a
thing.
couple of coins in a little bottle of whiskey.
There you go. Little,
Yep, little bottle of whiskey.
little
That's
bottle.
that's definitely one that brings to mind. Oh yeah, and she is definitely an Orisha that I haven't worked with. I'm scared of her, and I'm scared of Chango.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's more like a respectful fear.
Yeah.
I
That's,
had a dream not too long ago with Chango where I was reenacting in my dream what had happened with my daughter's father and the times I kept shut and Chango took over my body and I like was like hellfire
oh
spitting
shit.
and I'm like, okay. I have a reader she's from in Argentina. Listen, she knows when I got my legs crossed. She's definitely one of my like top. Like I'm like Tessie. She's like, don't worry, I got you. I already know. And she she called me up and she goes, you know that Chango visited you, huh? And I said, yeah. How did you know that? She goes, you're releasing all that crap that you had inside of you. And you kept fearing Chango because you didn't want to have that stuff out. And
Oh
in your
wow.
dream, he took possession over you in order for you to release all that junk. So she's like,
Wow.
now that you're releasing all that, you should at least, even though he's not one of your like patrons,
Mhm.
you should at least venerate him and give your thanks to him.
Everything an
And
offering.
I
Yeah.
did. And
Wow.
it's been going, but yeah, there's some orishas that so I mainly like work with the orishas, but I work with them like whoever comes to me, however form they come, either they come in their saint form or they come in their African form is just how it is, and it kind of fluctuates. Some Elegua doesn't. Elegua's always come in as Elegua, and
Hmm.
Yemaya to me has always come in as Yemaya, the African deity. Oshun is the one that she like teeter totters, but most of the time she comes to me as the saint.
Interesting.
So it's like sometimes I'm like, what you doing? Like, but then I'm like, sorry, it's not my place to ask. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you come to me however it is that you think that I need to. I sometimes I feel like when she comes to me in the saint form, it's more of a motherly, like a mother aspect rather
Hmm.
than the African deity, I think.
Yeah.
But
That's
I'm probably
interesting. That's interesting that you have these deities that are coming to you that way. And I think that there's a lot of people that, there's a lot of talk about cultural appropriation, in our community, in our circles, and things like that. And as a Puerto Rican person, we're dealing with Spain, Spaniard, and then we're also dealing with Africa. Those are the two things. Like, even though I am pretty light skinned and I don't tan anymore because I reach a certain age and I'm trying to take care of my skin. I'm trying to be good, about that stuff. But I used to like get dark, 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 dark. And I'll throw up a picture of my Aunt Angie. Maybe I'll do a whole video about my Aunt Angie. She looked like a black woman. I mean, with the biggest smile and always that jug of whiskey. always a
Yep.
jug of whiskey. I mean, the whiskey is good. But Miss Angie, man, she's amazing. But we're dealing with old, old shit. I mean, it's old. Um, and I think tequila one time we were this was when she was teaching me how to do pendulum work in her house. This was probably my first or second, no, it was probably my second time at her house. And she had me in the dining room. She was teaching me some stuff. And I don't need, like I've talked about this before. I never really worked with pendulums or with Ouija boards or anything like that because it just happens to me anyhow. So I was thinking of like maybe I could channel it. Maybe she could teach me some way that I could channel it and kind of control it in a better, put it in its box so that it
Uh-huh.
would be easier for me because uh, there's often times that I'll get sort of like uh, I don't mean to be rude to somebody that I'm talking to, but I'm being interrupted constantly by what they have behind them or what's behind me or what's over here. And I'm like
Uh-huh.
trying to focus on what somebody says. And sometimes I'm just like, I come off as a goof and I don't mean that. I don't mean to
Uh-huh.
be that way. It's just I'm overwhelmed, really, is what's happening. And I don't know how to articulate it. And I think this happened the first time, Snow, when I first met you, this was happening. We were at the dinner or the little table and we're having like some margaritas or whatever. And her great grandmother just walks up and is like talking to me. I'm like, I just met this girl. I'm like, can you let me like
Yeah,
stop?
give me a second.
It's like, I am. It was a thing.
I
But
gotta break this hair up.
but my grandfather came through and he was a very abusive man. He was a very handsome Puerto Rican man, gorgeous. And you know what that means in the community. When you have
Listen,
a good looking Puerto Rican man, they can get away with
Mr.
anything.
Papi Chulo. Yeah, oh, Mr. Papi Chulo.
Oh yeah,
I can do what the hell I want.
very handsome, very very handsome. I'll have
Got
to send you
women
a
here,
picture.
there, and everywhere.
And he was he actually when my mother had me when she was 14 years old, and that man took me out of the bed. I was like maybe a little less than 2 weeks old, and he took me and he tried to kill me, and he died in, I want to say, 2013. No, earlier than that, probably like 2011, somewhere around there. And then I started having this spirit around and I wasn't really sure what it was. And I knew when he was coming around because I could smell his cigarette smoke and I remember it. Like I remember it. And there's nobody in my house that
Love.
smoked. There was nobody in my house that smoked and I knew it. And sure enough, he shows up at freaking Tequila's house. And he was like attached and he was having a hissy fit. There was like electricity. Half of her house, the power went out on only half of the house that we were on. Like she can attest to this because it was just crazy the way this happened. And she just looked at me and she's like, Puerto Rican? And I said, yeah. And she's just like, man, she's like, you Puerto Ricans. She's like, it's strong. It's really, really strong. She says, it's nothing that you can do about it. It just is what it is. She's like, this is going to take some time to shake this one and just shake him. And then he ended up having a hissy fit in her damn house. And she's just like, you don't come smoking in my house and you don't come, whatever, whatever. And she knows she doesn't like this and you need to let her go. And I mean, she like got after him. It actually took probably another 2-3 months for me to shake him and actually cut it. But he was just draining me and he was enjoying it. It was
Yep.
awful. It was awful. And whoo, those pretty ones, you got to be careful. Got to be
Listen,
careful.
that's why I think my mom too. She like I have a ancestor altar set up in my living room with my grandmother and my niece,
Mhm.
and I have pictures of my daughter's fathers. His his father and his brother died tragically in
Mhm.
Puerto Rico. When I mean tragically, I mean like a machete was involved,
Ish.
and they weren't together. Like they were dismembered.
Mm.
And
God.
this happened when he was probably like 6, 6, 7, or 8, something like that. I have pictures of him. He showed up before I even had the pictures. My
Mhm.
mother was like, "Oh, do you want this armchair?" Because for some reason I'm attached to like I love old furniture.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
your little vanity there, you need to do that to me.
Everybody's after Denise. Everybody's
Yeah,
after her.
yeah,
Trina
mine.
wants Denise bad. Trina wants Denise bad. I'm
No,
like, Denise is here. Trina's
Trina
here.
wants
Tell
your
her you love
teeth.
her.
Trina wants your teeth. What was it? Tequila wants something else. I want Denise. I'm just saying.
Oh my god.
They're
My
already at.
friends.
Yeah,
My friends claiming body parts. It's like that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like that. Oh,
So I forgot what the whole saying. What was I
furniture.
saying?
Furniture. That your the rocking chair your mom was attached.
Oh, so my mother brought me in this old armchair, and she goes, "Oh, here you go, whatever." And I said, oh, "Okay, I'll have it in the front." And I was walking down, and I see this man with these like certain type of pants. They were like plaid 1970s
Mhm.
pants on. I didn't quite see his face too well, but he was sitting in the chair. He didn't scare me. He didn't. And mind you, behind my house is a cemetery, so I get tons of people walking through, and I don't. I've never, to this day, I bought my house 5 years ago, and I've
Uh-huh.
never had an issue with spirits bothering me or anything. They
Yeah.
come, they visit. I'm like, hey, what's going on?
As long as they respect, that's fine.
Yeah, I've never. I mean, the house next door has gotten broken into. I mean, stuff has happened, and here nothing.
Mhm.
Like, so I go downstairs. I see him sitting down there. I just think nothing of it. I called my mom and I said, "Mom, who's the owner of this chair?" Oh, there's this guy, blah 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 blah. She was telling me, and I said, "Well, was the man that the husband of the lady that gave you the chair, was he skinny or was he? No, he's a big, big, big man." And I said, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Why?" I said, "Well, I saw somebody sitting on a chair." Sorry, I'm like, "Como cosa, coño?" Like, fuck, no, I don't know where this bitch want to go. We in quarantine and shit, and she just want to run all over the place. So, squirrel. Um, she's like, "No, blah blah blah." I left it at that. 2 days later, my daughter's father comes and says, "Oh, my sister sent pictures of my dad and my brothers because all of his brothers have passed away. He's the only one that's left,
Oh
and
wow.
his sister. All of them have died tragically, either drug overdoses.
Oh man.
It's all of them. So I was like, "Oh, let me see the picture." When I saw the picture, I choked
Because it was him.
and I started to cry. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Do you remember when I told you that there was somebody sitting on that chair?" And he
Mhm.
goes, "Yeah." I said, "He's the one that was sitting on that chair. The same pants. The same freaking pants."
And this was his brother?
His father.
Father. Think he was just checking on the babies? Probably.
I think that his father was there because he hasn't dealt with whatever trauma. I think that that's exactly why he
Mhm.
has those narcissistic tendencies, is because he hasn't dealt with all the trauma that he's been through. He just has not. And they have made him a selfish man. It's just about how I feel, and I self-indulge me first.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I feel like his father and his brother protect him a lot, and he doesn't. He gets scared of that stuff. And I'm like, don't be scared. That's your father. It's
Yeah.
your brother come to visit. Like I can already feel it. Like that's your brother come to visit. And he would be like, I don't like it. I feel like somebody's like on top of me. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you need to relax. Maybe why don't you just talk to him?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of times I've told him, I'm like, you know that I'm pretty sure that if your father were alive, he'd be on your ass for the way that you're treating me.
Ooh.
Because his mother was the one that, like, she does the same thing that he does.
Really?
They're both the same. And she's always said, like, no, he was always the nice one. He was always the compassionate one. I was always the one that was the problem. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure your father would be riding on your butt right now for the way that you treat me. And
Man.
that would make him, and he just doesn't. He doesn't talk about that stuff. He doesn't like, he's like, there you go, you and your saints, and rah, 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 rah. I mean, there were times where he would take offerings when I would leave money offerings. He would take
Mhm.
them on my altars. I'm like, you show no respect.
Oh,
Listen,
no. That
that
is no.
that is why financially he's so up.
That is a no way.
Truck is constantly breaking down. Everything breaks. The winter time he never has any money. It's a freaking mess. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Well, he created it for himself. Shit.
He's
You
too
cannot.
self-indulgent. It's like you don't respect
Uh-uh.
anybody else's stuff at all.
No, no, no. I'm
You,
still
in
hung up
fact,
on the
I've always
altars.
told
I'm
him,
still hung up on the altars.
huh?
I, I'm still hung up on the altars. You do not create a money altar, and like anything that goes on the money altar, you do not to remove it. You do not do that. That
And
is
it
just
wasn't even like
so wrong.
specific like money altar. It was um I have my altar to Oshun, and I would give her her nickels, her coins as just as offerings to her because her number is number 5. So I would give
Oh,
her five nickels or 5 quarters, or I'd put $5. I just put that just as a thanks to her. And then if it got to be too much, I would ask permission if I could donate it.
uh-huh.
And if she said no, that money wasn't going anywhere. Then it would just keep stockpiling up there. But if she said to me, Elaine, you need to donate this. There's somebody in need.
Hmm.
I would go ahead and do that. That happened like once or twice, where she was like, "Yeah, that you need to donate this." And when I have done that, I've been blessed
Yeah,
like 20 million times over
yeah,
it. Like it's just been, not that I was expecting anything, but she was like, okay, because you followed what I asked of you, then here's your blessing. Like here's how I'm gonna take care of you. So I'd go there and I'd have this like really funky feeling around my like altar. I'm like, I don't get it, because she's always been the one that's been constant, always. And I'm like, I don't know why I have this like real funny feeling, like I was cleansing it, I was whatever, like, and I was just getting this like almost like stick to my stomach. Like something's
mhm,
going on, something's funky and something's wonky. Or I give offerings. The offerings would she loves cake.
uh-huh.
So I give her cake, drizzled with honey and tons of like she loves sprinkles and stuff like that. And in not even a day it would like be molded.
That's weird.
Like it was like super weird. Like I'm like, why aren't you like accepting my offerings and what's going on? Like I don't know. Like, and then I felt almost like she's not here anymore right now. And then one day he made this comment. I'm like, I could have sworn I put dollars here.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I had to go so and so to get something, so I took money off of the thing. What?
Oh, it's, oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
why would you? And he was like, well, why would you have it there? That's why you have it. Like, you give them that, and then they bless you back with the money. No, That's not how it works.
Oh
Yeah,
my God. Oh my God. Just like, oh,
it was a
no.
lot. I mean, and it's not a great relationship if you're with someone that doesn't respect. They don't have to follow, but they should respect. Well, he didn't respect me as a person to begin with, but you have to be with someone that respects. They can have a difference of opinion. You can have a debate and say, no, well, I don't think that that's the way it is, but that's the way you want to do it. By all means,
Yeah.
do what you do.
You should be your individual selves still in a relationship. You
Yeah.
don't lose yourself because you're in a relationship. Nope.
Uh-huh. So it was, but I mean, thank God that's pa fuera. Bye. And it's so weird. My Catholic mother's like, well, why don't you go to the ocean and like on some saint's day, and then you're supposed to like throw yourself backwards,
Yeah, backwards in the ocean.
yeah, to get rid of all the bad juju.
Yep.
But you're Catholic? Where does it say that in the Bible?
I'm telling you right now, there's just a very fine line between Catholicism and witchcraft. It's
Yeah,
real
I
fine.
think I tell her all the time. I said, you guys are like for Christmas they bless the fire.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that came from paganism. So I'm just saying, no,
Yeah.
no, no. All right.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Yeah, that was a
A lot
thing.
of these the lighting of the candle, it's supposed to like symbolize God and all this like special pins that they put on this special candle. But you
Yeah.
telling me that if I like you're Catholic, right? Somebody passes away. What do? You go to the bodega and you get a candle with the Sacred Heart of Jesus and light it.
And you light it. Yeah, that is something else too. And like in that I learned in my Puerto Rican tradition is like when somebody's dying, if you are lucky enough to know when they're dying, you light that candle and you have to keep it lit so that they can see it from earth as they're leaving their body. They look down and they see, that blessing, that honoring that you've given them. And it's just like that was something that when my Aunt Angie died, I had this candle that I hadn't really used, but it was like this like kind of coffee liqueur sort of smell, and I knew that she would love it. So I lit that candle, and it was by the front door. By the front door, it's getting lots of air blasted, back and whatever. That candle stayed lit for like a solid week. No joke. No joke. And I came home and I'm like, that candle's still going. And Bear's like, it has not gone out. And sure enough, she passes away. And it went out. It just went out. And it's just,
I
it was,
remember one time I was doing working just to, it was like blockbuster work that I was doing.
mhm.
And I had this candle. Oh my God, it was nice, clean burn. Like the glass wasn't even frosted,
Oh,
burning so nice. What
yeah.
happens? My mother in law, and I was burning it in my room.
Uh-huh.
My mother in law comes in, she sees it, walks out of my room. I come
Uh-huh.
back, I'm taking care of the baby. When I come back, it is pitch black.
Oh.
The whole top of it.
On the sides.
Yep. It was
Were that
all covered in soot. The whole glass. When it burned all the way down, it was completely black.
Whoa.
I had to make sure I cleaned. Like that's another thing. Like you mop, it has to be cold water if you're cleaning the house. The first one has to be warm, cold, ice cold, and then the second time you mop, because you gotta mop twice, is warm. So the first one is to get rid of all the bad stuff, and the warm water is to invite all the good. You
That's
have
a
to
good
put the
tip.
fabuloso in there with the bleach, and you always put,
Fabuloso. The
yep,
purple. The
yes,
purple.
the purple one, and you always put a splash of Florida water in there.
Yeah.
By the doors, there's always cold water a glass of cold water with a block of camphor in it,
Really?
right by the door.
Okay.
And then
Why?
every time you mop, that's just like so bad energies can't cross that.
So that's in kind of using like a like brick dust in a way.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. It's a
In
ward.
the kitchen, you have one of those, and it's great because I use these from the dollar store. I use this
Yeah.
as an incense catcher, by the way, with and I put your stand, and then I collect all
Is that why
the
you keep asking me for my sand? Okay.
yes,
All right.
because then I use this around my house
Okay.
because Yamaya is of the sea, so then I use her to protect my children and stuff
I
like that.
like
But I
it.
use with my ash, so I get one of those, and you put ice in there, and then you fill it up with cold water, and you leave it somewhere in the kitchen.
Okay.
You just leave it. If it gets foggy or whatever, you have to throw it out. You can't. You could throw water down like the toilet, but you can't do it down the sink.
Down the street. No,
You throw it out in the middle of the street and wait till the cars like go over it, and that's supposed to like disperse the.
the energies.
Yep. So then, like, I'm pretty sure that people are like, "What the fuck is Elaine doing coming out with the mop water?" Because I'm like, thinking like I'm in Puerto Rico and shit, coming out in my freaking long pajamas and stuff. What the hell's going on? And I'm just like, there it goes. Yep. Go ahead, run all over that.
Oh, I wish you were my neighbor. We'd have so much fun. We would.
And then the Catholic, they always had incense burning in Puerto Rico. That's like they call it salmerio. So they would
Somebody.
always like grow their own herbs, bundle them up just like in the States, and they would smoke it like here in my house. I'm pretty sure they're like, "What the hell's going on?" It's like the burning of Atlanta, all this smoke coming out of the goddamn freaking house. But when he left,
Mhm.
I legit I had to smudge my house and I had to clean my house for a month straight to get rid of all that crap that was in it. Even the attic, the basement, every nook and cranny I had to do because it was just like stagnant in here. It just didn't. It was like sludge. It
Sludge. You got to
didn't
get rid of
go
it.
away. And I had to burn when I smudged it. I had to use copal, frankincense, and myrrh. I couldn't use like sage. It wouldn't work.
There's
Or
certain things that don't work. I mean, if people are just like, "Oh, sage, sage, sage," I'm like, "Listen, sage don't work. That does not work for me."
no,
I mean, it's
that's just
not.
like tarot. I can't read tarot.
Oh no,
I could I can read playing cards.
but you can't read tarot.
Nope. The cards yell at me. I feel like they're yelling. There's too much stuff going on, and I can't decipher what's. I started taking classes with Brian from Toad and Broom.
Uh
I
huh.
don't know if you remember how Noah did a he did like a talk with Brian and Anthony
I want
from
to say
Toad and
yes. I want to say yes.
Broom.
That was a while ago. That was a long
Yeah,
while ago, right? Like 2, 3 years.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
Wow, taking it back.
the most well like I feel like Brian and Anthony are like an encyclopedia of like witchcraft. They know so much. Brian is like he's Native American
Mhm.
and he does shamanism, Solomonic work. I mean everything, everything. And his classes, I started taking a couple of classes with him, and they were amazing. They were amazing. And one of his classes was to teach me how to read playing cards.
Uh huh.
And every time I've read with the playing cards, it comes out no problem. The
Wow.
tarot cards, nope. I told them, I said, I can't. I just can't. They just don't, they scream at me. I have no idea what I'm trying to decipher what they're trying to say, and I just can't. They're pretty.
They're
I would
pretty.
love
I
to
love the
learn.
art. As an artist, I love the art of the tarot cards. I when other people are getting readings done, you know, I'm having conversations with their ancestors or whoever it is coming in or whatever. I don't need them in order to do it. It's nice when it's happening, but I got to watch it though. I mean, even I've done lives with people or been invited as lives, and then all of a sudden they're pulling out cards and all this other stuff. And then I'm just like, oh crap, I wasn't prepared. And now there's all these people in my head. I'm like, I can't,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get sick. I
No,
get
I need a
sick.
warning. Flag,
I
flag.
need warning. Where are my oils? I have a certain ring. Like, I
Yeah.
can't. Stop. White flag. No. Like, people in my
Take
head.
it easy. Take it easy.
Go easy with me.
It's too
Oh
much.
my
Too
God,
much.
girl. Okay, we have chatted for 2 full hours plus the 15 minutes before. I'm gonna let you go. You go
Okay.
to bed.
Sorry, I talk too much. You should be like, Elaine, just shut up.
No, I love that you talk too much. It's why I have you on here. And somebody said, please have her back. So I
Yeah.
will, if you're willing. We'll talk about all different kinds of stuff. Maybe we could do a how-to on some of the things like the water and the camphor and
Hmm.
things like that. Let's go through it. Let's take some people and show them
Sounds good.
some stuffs. Well, I thank you, Miss Laney Baney, for
Thank you.
coming
Thank
on.
you.
And
Then my hair for you. Then my nails for you. Everything.
oh, talk about your nails. What are you doing? What's your next step? So no, you don't have a YouTube channel, but what you doing?
So I started actually planning because I needed to do some like I need to get my budget squared away because it was the GD mess.
Yeah.
And I started noticing that like I love the happy planner because it's like so versatile. But I
Mhm.
was noticing they're like, oh, they have a faith planner and all this other stuff. Okay. But you're more geared towards Christian beliefs. Like what about the witchy people that want to put so then I'm developing planner pages for people who want to either budget or who want to do weekly card reads in their planner. They're going to be digital files where you can print them out. And
Nah.
um I like to paint nails. I like to do like manicures like on all my daughter's friends. They would come over here for their prom, get their nails done and stuff. And with everything that's going on, there's a lot of people that would want to have their nails done, but they either can't go out because they're part of that like, you know, select few that can't because they can get sick. Like let's say like, you know, Trina with Alex and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They can't really expose themselves.
Right.
So one of my daughter's best friend was like, "Well, mom, why don't you do press on nails?" And I didn't know that was a thing. She was like, "You know how to like design them, you know how to put like rhinestones, you do all that stuff. So why don't you do that?" So that's what I'm gonna be doing. So I'm gonna be setting up little kits and putting the nails all different types of lengths and
Cool.
other stuff. So ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ooh,
These
nice.
are these are a little bit too long for me, but I
Those are
mean
beautiful.
they're really great. I polish them. I use gel polish so that it lasts a lot longer, and then you can just reuse them. So if you want to go out instead of worrying about all my nails look jacked up, then you could just like pop them on real quick and then take them off. And then I provide you with the whole kit that has cuticle oil that I make, and then it has the nail glue, and then the buffer instructions. I'm pretty sure there's going to be like funny instructions like you lightly buff the top of your nail, not like the Puerto Rican caldero that has the oil stuck on it. Just saying lightly. So yeah, that's just what I'm doing. I have to make some more income because my daughter's father, he's great with her, which I appreciate. And that's why I'm not on him about it, but I can't financially
You
depend on
can't
him
hold
for anything.
no, you can't hold it whatever. When you get the link for when you build your page for your Etsy, do you already have it? Can you send me the link so I can put it in the description bar?
Okay.
Yeah. So that way people can hit you up.
Like,
Get your nails done.
yeah. I'm
Get your
getting your
nails done.
nails did, girl.
Get your nails done. Get your
What is it?
nails
Okay. What do you like?
done. Oh no, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah,
Well, all right. I love you. I'm gonna
I
go.
love you too. Sorry, everybody, that
Mm,
I've been like so like mocosa.
No worries. I love you still and your mocos.
Yeah,
Tomorrow, I'm going to be on with the Desert Siren, which was a reschedule, and I'm super excited about it. And yes, I think it's Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow, but yes, we're talking. And it's going to be 3 o'clock Pacific. So, Elaine, that's 6 o'clock for you. All
yeah.
right. So we're going to be back here. And then on Monday, I'm going to be talking to Miss Trish, Beanbag Hagwag. So it was a pleasure having you.
You
It's
have a
good to
home.
see you. And I love you. And I will send
I
you
love you
pictures
too.
of my
Mwah.
flowers. And you send me a link so I can put it in there so that people can get
Okay,
stuff.
I
All right.
will. All right. Thanks, everyone. So many blessings.
Bye, you guys.
Bye. How are we turning this off?